Welcome to Delta Green, God's Teeth, brought to you by Black Project Gaming. Get read in at blackprojectgaming.com. I'm Vince, your host and handler for this campaign. Joining me are Cami as FBI Special Agent Sarah Hart, Doug as Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent Gerrald Swenson, Jack as Special Agent Adrian Selivanov with the FBI's Computer Analysis Response Team, and Sonia as Dr. Leah Caron with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. God's Teeth is a campaign of unthinkable horrors, written by Caleb Stokes for Delta Green, the role-playing game. For more information on Delta Green, please visit delta-green.com. Music in these episodes is brought to you by Cryo Chamber and Epidemic Sound. This podcast contains depictions of and allusions to violence against both children and animals, as well as unnatural horror, graphic violence, and adult language. As a result, it is intended solely for mature audiences. Listener discretion is strongly advised. So, in our last episode, you all took some much-needed, well-deserved downtime, very brief, only a couple of days, and engaged in some personal pursuits, some to varying degrees of success. But regardless, once you had an opportunity to collect yourselves, to recuperate, however slightly, you all reconvened in Zion, Maryland at the hotel you had called home during your cover-up operation in Red Thoughts. Upon reconvening, you all decided to head up to the Charlotte's Rest Veterans Home to make contact with Franklin Price, who there was some suspicion he might be a target for El Gable and the others who had murdered Carrie Hoden and had essentially set this whole thing in motion. So you all drove up, and upon arrival, you immediately saw that someone was being brought out on a stretcher, covered by a sheet. Of course, everyone suspected the worst, but come to find out it was just another elderly resident who had succumbed to age and illness. You briefly made contact with the doctor in charge of the veterans home, a Dr. Caulfield, who asked you to wait inside at the nurse's station for him so he could essentially see what you needed and try to assist as best he could. You all went inside, and at the nurse's station, you immediately found a grisly scene. The nurse inside, who had been manning the station, had his throat ripped out, and bloody paw prints led down the hall towards Franklin Price's room. You all immediately, your senses up, your hackles raised, made your way down the hall, found the door to the room locked, specifically room 121, with a garment, some kind of scarf, hanging over the security window, preventing anyone from looking inside. You were able to break the door down and gain entry, where you found El Gable poised over Franklin Price with a hunting knife, ready to strike. Surrounding her were 3 dogs of various breeds. There was a German Shepherd, a Schnauzer, and a gore-soaked standard poodle. Combat essentially began immediately, and there was a violent volley and exchange of gunfire as most of you tried to fight off these dogs. 2 of the 3 were killed, and 1 would later expire in the comforting embrace of Sarah Hart. Meanwhile, Bear tackled Elle and attempted to restrain her. He was soon overcome by that familiar scent you all have become somewhat accustomed to at this point, or at least exposed to varying degrees, and was driven to tear her throat out with his bare teeth. Witnessing this, Adrian, immediately terrified, pulled a gun on Bear and took a shot that thankfully went wide. And that's essentially where we left off. We are still in room 121 in the Charlotte's Rest Veterans Home. Dr. Caulfield is in the doorway to the room, ranting and raving, demanding to know what happened, Fire alarms at this point are going off due to all of the gun smoke in that enclosed space. Kind of hard to even hear yourself think at this point, never mind coming down from the adrenaline high of this gunfight and the auditory exclusion beginning to dissipate. But you all are here now. And Adrian, I believe you were out in the hallway taking some time to yourself. Sarah, you went back into the room to see what was going on. Bear and Leah, I believe you were still inside. There is the sound of approaching sirens, indicating a response by law enforcement, likely triggered by Dr. Caulfield or other Veterans Home staff due to the repeated gunfire. Franklin Price is alive, though, and he's still muttering to himself about quiet children, about the smell of cookies. But it seems that his energy is beginning to wane. And, well, first, who lost hit points in that fight?
I did.
Adrian, did you?
No.
Bear, I don't think you did either.
No, I didn't.
And Leah, did you lose anything?
No.
So we'll start with you. Where are you looking right now amidst all this chaos?
I think she was looking at Bear, and she was the one who's confirmed that Elle is dead. Is the doctor here yet?
Yeah, Dr. Caulfield is in the doorway, just demanding to know what happened. But for you, Leah, especially since you did that examination, very brief, of Elle Gable to confirm that she was dead, you recognize in her the telltale signs of methamphetamine abuse. This girl, barely out of her teens, bears the scars of every kind of addiction and self-abuse ever to grace a police training video. It is a miracle that she was still alive, not to mention planning and committing a physically demanding murder, specifically that of Carrie Oden. What remains unclear is how she secured enough narcotics to support a habit, as there is no evidence she even knew how to speak.
Filing that away for later. But right now, I think she directs her attention to Dr. Crawford and goes, "We found her trying to murder your patient here. As my friend was trying to restrain her, one of the dogs turned on her and ripped her throat out."
Go ahead and make a persuade roll. Yeah, with a 47 out of 60, he is shaken, pale. You can even see his hands are shaking slightly as he gestures around the room. And he says, the dog turned on her. These are therapy animals.
They turned on us as well. They tried to attack us. Well, they did.
This is crazy. These are some of the best trained animals we could buy. And you're saying...
You tell me, your nurse is out there with their throat torn out.
Oh my God. Okay, look, the police are on their way. I am going to meet them at the entrance. I'll bring them back here. Please just sit tight. And I'm sorry for this, but thank you. And I'm sure if he could, Mr. Price would thank you as well.
Leah just nods at him.
Can you do something about him, Doc?
As soon as I can get an orderly in here, we'll sedate him so he can get some rest. Bear, what are you doing at this moment?
I think Bear is just kind of like, he's sitting on the floor. He's let go of Elle's body, and he's backed up into the corner. And he's just sitting there. At this point, he's just trying to like clean himself off a little bit. If there are towels or gauze or anything like that in this room, he will try to grab one and try and use it. Otherwise, he'll probably use his own clothes.
The clothes are a foregone conclusion at this point. They are covered in blood, but you're able to find something to wipe off your mouth and the worst of it. Make an alertness roll for me.
Oh, yeah, that's a 20 out of 80.
20 out of 80. Beautiful. You notice that there's something clutched in his hand.
Price?
Yep.
Okay. I think I'm going to wait for Caulfield to leave the room, and then I will check it out.
He makes his way out, begins heading down the hallway. You can hear the sound of his receding footsteps. And at this point, it sounds like somebody has turned off the fire alarms since there is no fire, in an attempt to calm the other residents and to de-escalate the situation as best they can. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a handout. And if you could, describe for us what it is you see.
Okay, it looks like it's a flyer. It says homeless and question mark at the top. And it gives the address of a shelter at St. Lawrence Church, 503 Coral Terrace. It advertised food, warmth, safety, clothing, healthcare, and anonymity. But yeah, it looks like it's a Bible verse. He who gives the poor, who gives something to the poor will never want. And then Proverbs 28:27. So I think it's he who gives to the poor will never want. But on top of that is obviously somebody's been coloring with like multiple colors of crayons, and there's stars and crescent moons. There's a couple of lizards. Looks like they're fighting. One of them is biting the other, and there's probably blood. A car and trees with a fire in the middle and a bunch of people around the fire. That looks a little bit culty. I think there was originally the cross was part of it, but then they've drawn some symbols over the cross, like a sun and I don't know, maybe a crescent moon, but it might be something part of something larger. That's hard to tell. But then at the bottom, there are 3 dogs and 4 people dead on the ground and 1 person with bloody hands, and the dogs' mouths are bloody as well. And they're all kind of like standing over these dead bodies. And then interestingly, the word in the shelter at St. Lawrence Church, the word shelter is scratched out. And where it says food, warmth, safety, clothing, etc., safety is scratched out. So, I mean, my interpretation of this is that this probably was from Elle. And there's a lot of things going on here, but she doesn't think highly of this homeless shelter.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Sarah, what are you up to?
Since Leah has already talked to the doctor, and I've heard the story that we're using, which, not too far off from the truth, but just to cover Bear's tracks. I want to go, because I had sent Adrian out, so I want to go find him and follow up on the little shooting bit.
Yeah, Adrian, I'm guessing you're still out in the hallway, kind of collecting yourself.
Yeah, I had mentioned, I think last time, that he just sort of breaks down, but I don't think, just to sort of color the scene a bit more, I don't think it's like a super emotional sobbing sort of breakdown. I think it's more of a disassociation. He is Eastern European after all, Russian, so his family was never too keen on outward displays of vulnerability. And so I think that he just sort of is clammed up, seated beside one of the dog corpses, just sort of his back against the wall, staring into the room that everyone else is sort of gathered in.
Yeah, I'll just walk up to him. I don't think she'll sit by him, but she'll kind of lean against the wall on the other side of the hallway, giving him a little bit of space, and say, police will be here soon. They're probably going to ask us questions. The dog did that to Elle. I don't know if you were in the room when that happened, but the dog was the reason for that amount of savagery. And just kind of making sure that he's tracking with me that that's our story.
Yeah, he's not even looking up at you. I think his eyes are just focused on the room, and even if Bear isn't in sight, just sort of focused on this, almost replaying the scene over and over as he saw it. But he's not looking up at you when you say that. But he does say, so you wouldn't know what it, unless you speak Russian, you wouldn't know what it means. But I think he says a bit of a prayer in Russian.
Yeah, I didn't speak Russian, but I think she can kind of tell that it's maybe not a prayer specifically, but that it's something important to maybe center himself, so she'll just listen quietly for a moment and let him finish. Look, we'll talk later about what happened with Bear, but for right now, we just need to get through this moment. Your instincts weren't totally wrong, but we just need to cool it.
He's not coming with us.
He is for now.
No, he can't.
What's the other option?
I think this is when he finally looks up at you. His eyes meet yours. And he doesn't say it, but he's definitely giving you that look of like, you know that this is not going to be the last time that something happens like this.
She gives a little nod. Won't verbally agree, but there's enough in her eyes that she says, that was pretty fucked up, and I am aware of that. And I don't want you to think that I'm not aware of it, kind of thing. Look, we can't do anything about it now. So we'll get through this part. We'll regroup, figure out next steps, and then have one hell of a fucking debrief.
Are you going to tell Pritzker, or should I?
What would you tell him?
The truth.
Do you think that Bear is a liability to this job that we're doing?
With every fiber of my being.
She takes a deep breath. You can tell Pitzerelli if you want. I'm sure he'll call me to confirm later, but like I said, your instincts might not be wrong, but we need to not just start shooting immediately, especially when we're in public and there are civilians nearby.
I feared for my life.
Yeah, that probably won't be the last time.
I don't think he says anything. He unhooks his gaze from yours and just tilts his head down.
Can you do this?
Do what exactly?
This job and what it's asking you to do, which is, for the moment, work with Bear.
He hesitates for a good moment, and the pause between them is pregnant and heavy. But I think after a couple beats, he finally sighs. I'm not going to rock the boat, if that's what you're asking. No more than he has.
Okay, guess that's the best I'm getting. And then she'll go back into the room.
With that, for the sake of brevity, law enforcement does show up.
I think Bear, in a surprising moment of clarity, would probably say to Leah, got a short amount of time. Is there anything we should do with the thing? Because they're going to lock it down pretty soon.
Yeah, can I roll like forensics or something?
Yeah, what's your skill in forensics? And what's your skill, Bear?
50.
Yeah, no, I've got a 2.
All right, so Bear with a 2. Leah, you said you had a 50?
Yeah.
And Sarah, what's yours, since you're stepping back into the room?
Yeah, mine's 70. So if I kept the tail end of that, I'm happy to do a quick survey and try.
Thankfully, the scene is so bloody and such a mess, it's not going to be hard to sell that narrative. You've done what you need to do, Bear, and cleaned the majority of the blood off your face and mouth. It's entirely reasonable that you simply caught some arterial spray when Elle's throat was ripped out. As for the gunshot in the window next to where you were standing, easily sold as a shot that went wide, as there were quite a few of those, quite a few misses in that melee with the dogs. So it is a chaotic scene, but that works in your favor.
Can I, just to be like extra safe, the dog that does have blood on its mouth, can I like get some of Elle's blood like on something and then kind of dab it around its mouth too, on the off chance that they do test and they're like, hold on.
Easy enough. Yeah, you're able to get some, like, this is a standard care facility, so Leah could even probably point out where they would be likely to keep other medical supplies.
I think Leah, because her hands are already bloodied from checking on Elle, she will be like, oh, that's a good idea, and do that. Because that way, she was already trying to staunch the flow. She was like, put it on the dogs.
Yeah, so you dab it in this steadily growing pool of blood beneath Elle. and smear it around the outside of the dog's mouth, inside, on its teeth. It is difficult to differentiate from the blood of the nurse, which has already begun to dry, but I think you do a suitable enough job to make it appear slightly more fresh.
Yeah.
And we'll all make a note of which dog that is.
That was a standard poodle. Because I was the one that was already bloodied prior, presumably had gone after the nurse first, and then, yeah.
And as you're doing that, Leah, you notice for the first time that the poodle is wearing a collar. And the tag on it identifies this particular dog as this gal.
Interesting name. Poor Boo Boo, but interesting name.
Adrian will sort of start to get up and is just still standing in the doorway. We'll say, we should check them for chips.
You mean if they were microchipped?
Yeah. It might not be anything, but it might be something.
I don't think we have the technology for that now, but we could... Can we? How do you check for them? For that?
I think you need special stuff from a vet, right?
Yeah, you would need a scanner, or you'd need to cut them open.
I mean, these were...
Therapy dogs.
Yeah, that were employed here, it sounds like.
Correct. Based on what Dr. Caulfield was saying, that's a reasonable assumption to make.
So Bear would go to the poodle, to this gal, and put his hand like in between her shoulder blades on her back, because I know from my pets I can actually feel where their chips are.
What's your alertness?
80?
Yeah, you can feel it.
Okay, I Bear would say, yeah, I think there's a chip there. I don't know what it is, but
It was just an idea. I don't know if they might give us any more information about what went on or movements, but might be something.
I wonder if we could get something from the camera feeds here.
I bet we could. Bear's gonna look around. Is there a camera pointing in this room?
Not in this room, but certainly in the hallways.
Is it possible that it caught the events in this room?
Well, she put up the scarf.
The door was open during all of that. However, based on the angle and the positioning of the camera, you can make a safe assumption that it would not have afforded a view of the interior of the room itself.
Okay.
I'll go ask security to get the tapes. And Adrian just sort of awkwardly shuffles back off. And I'm going to go look for someone, whether it's the same doctor who was talking to us earlier or just someone on staff who can get me into the security office.
As you step out of the room and you begin making your way down the hallway, you can see out through the entrance that you all came in. And you can see Dr. Caulfield there with a couple of orderlies talking to 4 uniformed officers with the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office, which has jurisdiction over Charlotte Hall, Maryland. As you begin walking, though, you see the nurse's station. Go ahead and make a search roll for me.
20 out of 60.
You notice that there is a monitor there, and essentially a monitoring station with recordings for the cameras in this wing of the veterans home.
I'd like to confiscate as much as I can, footage-wise, and then when I'm done, wipe everything.
Does anybody want to go out and engage with the sheriff's office while Adrian attempts this?
Yeah, I think Sarah can.
You do head out, Sarah, and you can hear Dr. Caulfield as you get closer and closer explaining the situation to the sheriff's deputies. How do you approach?
Yeah, I think I will walk up, not wanting to interrupt the conversation, but I'll walk up, and when the police officer can see me, kind of show my badge really quick just so he knows who I am. And just kind of stand there in case they have further questions for me. I don't want to give too much information before they ask, but I also don't want to suddenly disappear on them either.
Yeah, for the sake of brevity, we'll say that they do ask you to identify yourself, and I'm assuming you do so as Ellie Adams.
Yep.
They'll essentially just ask what happened. They will take notes as you give your account of what occurred in room 121. Slightly incredulous, because it does stretch the boundaries of belief that these 3 service animals that Dr. Caulfield insists were docile and well-trained, and really staples of their treatment efforts at the Veterans Home, turned so violently on these people. They will ask about the identity of the woman who was, for all intents and purposes, in the middle of attempting to murder Franklin Price. Do you identify her as Elle Gable and connect it to the be on the lookout notices for her and her accomplices?
I think so, because that was officially on the record and out there for other agencies and officers to be aware of.
It was.
So yeah, and that also is why we're here, and that gives us a reason to be here. So yeah, I will let them know.
And there are active warrants for their arrest, so that supports your narrative even further. They take that all down. They do say they will want to speak with the other agents who were involved in the incident. But while this is happening, because that's going to take some time, before I get back to Adrian, Leah, and Bear, is there anything you're doing with the time that you have?
She might just survey the room for anything else. I know Bear had seen the flyer.
Yeah, I think I would have showed that to everybody.
Okay. I think she's just going to survey the room real quick for anything else that would be of interest to our situation versus, and could possibly be,
Nothing that stands out to you with either your search, your alertness, any of your relevant skills. It looks like until this happened, the room was largely sterile. And apart from the pamphlet that Franklin Price was gripping in his hand, which, by the way, you don't know how he would have gotten his hands on it if it did indeed come from Elle Gable. Based on the medication you see on his bedside, he has suffered from severe dementia for years. And for him to even be speaking, even though they're just random mutterings, is nothing less than amazing.
Okay.
I think Bear, also as a follow-up to this, is just gonna pull out his phone and take some pictures. We have burner phones, right?
Correct.
I'd pull out my burner phone and just take some pictures of the room, especially the flyer, just in case, because I know it'd be tough to take any evidence from here.
Well, yeah, you are the only one that found the pamphlet. So if it's not left there, the sheriff's officers or the sheriff's deputies would have no reason to know it was there to begin with.
Now that you're saying that, so if I can just think about this out loud. So if this leads us to a next place to check on Elle, and if we give it to the police, they're going to do that too.
Yeah, so just take it with us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I think Bear will just fold it up and put it in his pocket.
Okay. Adrian, do you review any of the footage, or do you just pull the recording as is?
I'm just going to pull. I feel like I'm picking up what Dr. Caron is saying, and if the sooner we can get out of here, the sooner we can sort of debrief. But yeah, I'm taking what I can and I'll watch it later.
Okay. As you're doing that, one thing you do notice is a series of files that are on the desktop of the nurse's station. It appears they're connected to some of the other patients in the veterans home, specifically in this wing. But 2 or 3 folders down, you see the tab reads Price F.
Oh yeah, I'm snatching.
Cool. Won't even make you roll stealth because there's nobody around to see it, because Sarah is keeping the deputies and the hospital staff, or the veterans home staff, otherwise engaged. So that is yours, along with the footage.
Fantastic. And yeah, like I said, I want to wipe just so that there's no evidence that we were here beyond just hearsay.
And I believe your SIGINT is 50 and your computer science is 80. So yeah, easy enough to wipe the drive for the security footage.
84 specifically, but yes.
84 specifically. My apologies. Yeah, you're easily able to do that. At this point, Sarah, the deputies finish their questioning with you. They do say they want to speak to the others. Do you lead them inside to do so?
Yeah, I think I will. I'm assuming, or Sarah's assuming at this point that her team is on their game and is ready for that.
And Adrian, as you wrap up, you see Sarah leading these deputies down the hall towards you and Bear and Leah. I'm assuming we all tell the same story?
Yeah, as close as we can. I mean, for Adrian, it's definitely he's saying as little as possible while saying as much as he needs to.
Who has the highest persuade of the group? Yeah, Sarah, I believe you have an 80, right?
Yeah, 86.
Okay. Go ahead and roll persuade.
Boy.
Can I help? Or because all of us, can we give her like an advantage because we're all saying the same story?
Well, I'll give Sarah a plus 20 because you succeeded with Dr. Caulfield and he is supporting your narrative.
Nice.
Didn't even need it.
With a 10 out of 86. You have got these deputies wrapped around your finger. They are buying the narrative hook, line, and sinker. And with your statements collected, knowing that you all are federal law enforcement in some capacity or another, they know you'll have your own procedures to go through. And so they leave you to whatever it is you may or may not do and begin processing the scene for their purposes. But with that, do we leave Charlotte's Rest Veterans Home behind?
Yes, after a thorough scrub down.
I mean, is there any other evidence we could collect here? Because, I mean, it's not like we can talk to people about Price because he's been essentially a vegetable for years.
Right.
Well, Adrian grabbed his file and the security camera stuff, so I think that'll probably give us more information than we could get.
Also, does Sarah need medical attention?
Yeah.
Maybe we do that out of the car.
Yeah, no, but I'll swipe some supplies from the home and do that in the car.
Well, so the orderlies, this is a medical facility. And so Dr. Caulfield and the orderlies do offer up their services should you need it, seeing that you're bleeding from the wound in your leg, and offer to assist.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Might as well do it while we're wrapping things up there.
Okay, go ahead and roll 1d4, Sarah.
3.
You regain 3 hit points.
Hell yeah, back up to full.
Now, where do we reconvene?
How far of a drive was it to get here?
I mean, we probably want to get to St. Lawrence Church, which I'm guessing that's in. Well, we could probably Google it, couldn't we?
Yeah, that was my second question. Is then how far is that from either us or where we came from?
So, the leads that you have currently outstanding, you've crossed Charlotte's Rest Veterans Home off your list. There's King Torino Children's Refuge, where a lot of the children from Cornucopia House ended up, which is in North Carolina. And then you also have Florida, which is where El Gable purchased tickets to Maryland.
If we just search St. Lawrence Church, 503 Coral Terrace, can we see where it is? Is it in North Carolina here or?
It is in Miami, Florida.
Aha, okay.
So, if we're doing the East Coast road trip, King Torino would be the next stop, followed by Florida.
I feel like at least Adrian, who is in his own car and has not spoken a word to anybody since you've all got into the parking lot, would just be driving, but he will turn to the others and say, are we just going back to our room now or what?
I guess we could to regroup there and then.
Good. I'll see you there. And then Adrian will just walk away.
So you're in Charlotte Hall, which is further south of Zion. It's 2 hours south. So you could reasonably find lodging in the local area versus heading all the way back up north to Zion.
Okay, yeah. So we would have let Adrian know some location where to meet up.
You good with that, Jack?
Yeah, but I'm not going straight to the hotel, though.
Okay. Where are you going?
I am going to, if there's a Because I imagine in between here and there, it's fairly like rural, right?
Pretty rural, yeah.
So I imagine there's gonna be like a rest stop or like a side of the road sort of situation, but just somewhere he could stop that's away from as many people as possible. Just it's as quiet and full of solitude as possible.
Easy enough. You get on the interstate and you pull off into a rest stop and find a secluded corner away from the restrooms and the vending machines. Not a lot of foot traffic.
After a few moments of sitting in silence, I would like to call Pritzker.
You dial up Pitzerelli. The phone rings and he picks up. Hey, Selivanov.
We have an issue.
Already? Okay. What's going on?
We were checking on Price at the rest home today, and there was an incident. One of the suspects, Elle, she was there.
Elle Gable?
Yes.
Is she still breathing?
No, in fact, one of the agents, he killed her. And I don't mean just with a gun.
I'm waiting to hear where the problem is.
And there's like a noticeable tremble in his voice. I think he ate her. Or bit her, tore her throat out with his teeth.
Jesus fucking Christ. All right. Well, I mean, like, did he just jump on her and do that? Like, I'm gonna need some more.
No, I came in. I shot one of the dogs. The dogs were attacking all of us, and
now there's fucking dogs.
There were 3 of them. One of them bit. I can't keep our names straight. She was Ellie at the rest home. She is now Sarah.
Okay. All right. She's still breathing?
She's okay. She got patched up. But there were dogs. There have been animals. There have been dogs and bats and cats. And they do things.
Listen, Adrian.
No, you listen. I've seen it. And I've been attacked by one of them. I've seen them on footage. And I saw Bear. And he ate her. He bit into her like a fucking dog.
And you saw this happen?
Yes.
Then again, I ask you, what were the circumstances surrounding it?
He was trying to subdue her, and he had her in a regulation hold at first. But then he just got on top of her, and she was screaming, and there was blood all over his mouth, and he was biting until she stopped screaming.
Was she armed?
No, I don't think she was.
Have you covered your tracks?
Yes. Sarah and I have done what we needed to do. They're not going to come after us, but that's not the point. I can't work with a murderer.
Adrian, let me get something across to you and make it abundantly clear. Are you listening?
Yes.
You will work with whoever the fuck I tell you to work with. You will work with these people. And you will kill those people. I don't care how you fucking do it. You'll get it done.
And it's just like that. He ate her. He fucking ate her.
He chewed it up and swallowed it, Adrian? Is that what you're fucking telling me? That
He drank her fucking blood.
Do I need to worry about you, Adrian? Because I'm starting to feel like I might need to.
What, are you saying you don't believe me?
I'm saying you sound like you're coming unglued.
Just saw my fucking team partner. I just saw him become a fucking vampire or something. I saw him become a cannibal. You want me to just be okay with that?
I'm going to contact Agent Hart. and get their version of events. This is noted, but I expect you to continue executing. I've got enough on my plate right now, Selivanov, with you fucking four, that I don't need you becoming an additional liability. Can you do this?
Sure.
That is the only right answer. And he hangs up. What does Adrian do?
He sits there quietly.
Almost immediately, while you're driving, Sarah, your phone, your burner, begins to ring.
Do I recognize the number?
You absolutely do.
Motherfucker. I mean, she knew Adrian was going to call, and she assumed Pitzerelli would immediately call her. So I think she knows what it is. But being that she is in the car with other people right now, he's going to be so pissed, but she's going to decline it. Because she would rather have that conversation privately.
The phone immediately begins ringing again.
She lets it go to voicemail.
Your personal phone begins ringing.
Motherfucker. Okay. She like pulls over the car. Give me a minute. She'll get out. And she's going to like walk a little bit a ways. Hi. Yeah. Not alone. Didn't want to answer. I know he called you.
Oh no. No. You're going to get the others there and you're going to put me on fucking speaker.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, shit.
Fine. I'll get back in the car and put him on speaker. Go ahead.
First of all, don't ever decline one of my fucking calls ever goddamn again, Hart. Is that abundantly fucking clear?
Yep.
Amazing. What the fuck happened?
She looks at Bear. Do you want to explain? It's about,
The suspect was, so Bear's been pulled on the carpet before. He's been chewed out in the worst way by some pretty intimidating sergeants. So he kind of like goes just into this like automatic mode of just like recounting the facts as best he can and keeping his mouth shut otherwise. He says, the subject had a knife. I came into the room. I saw that Price's life was in danger. And I grabbed her from behind. I put her in an arm bar and got rid of the knife. And I began applying the choker hold. But, she bit me or something, and I freaked out. I bit her back. I guess it was a lot harder than I thought it would be.
I was going to ask if I can get a read on if Bear genuinely believes that version of events or if there's something he's not telling us.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you two can roll human.
Ah, damn.
Barely, but I succeeded.
Yeah, so Leah with a 39 with an 81 out of 39, you fail. But of course, Sarah with an 82 out of 87 and your finely tuned bullshit detector, you succeed.
Even if I had a liability, I don't think I could beat an 82.
Well, go ahead and make a persuade roll.
That's right. It's persuade. Yeah, that's a fumble.
With a 77 out of 41, you lose one sanity from the stress of having to keep up this narrative, both in front of Sarah and Leah and with Pitzerelli on the other line. But it is abundantly clear, Sarah, that he is massaging the truth. Whether or not Pitzerelli recognizes it is tough to tell with him just being a voice on the other end of a phone. But he is quiet for a moment after you finish recounting your version of events, Bear. Dr. Caron, Sarah, is that in line with your perception of events?
Sarah looks at Leah.
It was chaotic, but with what I could remember, with what I can for sure say happened, he had pinned Elle to the ground. They were tussling at the other edge of the bed. I had tried to come over, but by the time I had got there, he had already torn her throat out, I tried to save her life. It did not work, obviously, and we passed it off as a dog bite instead. But yes, technically, but there was something weird about the whole situation. Everything has been fucking weird, but weirder than usual.
Welcome to the fucking program, Dr. Caron. Everything is fucking weird. Now, was the subject armed?
He had a knife, sir.
So, she presented a deadly threat.
True.
Agent Swenson, you responded with deadly force in the face of a threat to life and limb. Correct?
As per my training, sir.
Did you fucking eat her?
I bit her, sir. In my mind, there's a difference.
I'm gonna pull a Clinton on you there, Agent Swenson. Did you inhale? Did you fucking swallow?
I couldn't avoid getting blood in my mouth, sir, but I didn't enjoy it, if that's what you're asking. And for the other two, that's a little bit of a lie also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seem to remember the narrative being a bit more euphoric than that.
And Leah was there for it, and she was like, oh. And there was no chunk of flesh afterwards elsewhere.
Sarah doesn't say anything, though.
Number one, I am not concerned that El Gable did not walk away. In fact, I expect you to put her and her little fucking buddies in the goddamn ground. So, job well done on that front. But moving forward, perhaps we refrain from making our jobs more complicated than we need to be, and we just shoot them in the fucking head instead.
Sure, my goal was to detain her for questioning, but that was not to be.
I don't want them detained for questioning. I don't care what they have to fucking say. They represent a threat and they are to be treated as such. They are to be neutralized. Am I clear?
Understood, sir.
And if I'm not mistaken, based on what you all have told me, they can't fucking talk anyway, can they?
Sir, no, sir.
So, moving forward, let's not bite any more fucking throats out. And Hart, you need to get your fucking team under control. Selivanov is a fucking problem.
Yeah, I know.
You all are going to give me a fucking heart attack, I swear to God. Where are you going next?
We're headed south. North Carolina first, and then eventually Florida.
We have a potential lead that we're going to try to follow up on and address at a church, but we are going to head south eventually.
I expect regular updates. When you all lay your pretty little heads down to catch a few winks, snooze a little bit, you're going to fucking call me first.
Understood?
Amazing. Anything else?
Nope.
He hangs up.
Leah staring at Bear.
I think Bear, in the wake of this, like, when you guys were still in the facility, like, the adrenaline was still pumping for Bear, and he was obviously still keyed up. But he started to come down now, and he's starting to slump in his seat, and, you know, he's starting to look a little bit tired and not completely as aware as he was. You also see that he's started to sweat quite a bit, and every now and then he puts his hand up to the left side of his chest. A couple of times he puts his two fingers up to his neck, and he looks a little bit worried.
What the fuck, Bear?
I don't know. Is it hot in here? He rolls down the window a little bit. He's trying to like lean towards the window to catch some fresh air. You can see he's breathing a little bit hard too.
All right, let's just get to the hotel.
Pull over. I think I might be sick.
All right. I pull over.
A Bear gets out of the car and just like stands by the side of the road and next to the ditch his hands on his knees, and he's leaning forward. He's trying to catch his breath. Doc, you think I might be having a heart attack?
What the fuck, Bear? Like, are you having chest pain? What's going on?
It's my heart. It won't stop. It's tight. I feel kind of numb all over. And you can see that he's visibly shaking now, his entire body.
Oh, motherfucker. She's going into medical mode, and she's going to get the first aid kit and take a set of vitals, check to see if it's actually a heart attack, because then he'll need actual medical attention. And then I think it's more emotional post whatever the fuck had just happened.
Yeah. Is this a heart attack, Bear, or is this an anxiety, a panic attack?
This is like a panic attack. It's basically some of the known symptoms of Bear's disorder.
Got it.
But they are quite close to heart attack symptoms also.
Yeah, but I think your blood pressure may be a little elevated, but probably not to a dangerous degree. You probably don't have like the classic, even if it's substernal chest pain, you may feel tight.
Right.
She might have you like take one nitro just to see if it does anything, and when it doesn't, she's like, "This isn't a heart attack. You're not having a heart attack."
What is this?
Looks like a panic attack.
All right. Just give me a minute. Fuck. And then Bear, just turning there, he's standing there next to the car, and he just turns, and he slams his hand into the hood of the car. Maybe big enough to leave a dent. Very hard. And he screams out of frustration and anger.
Bear, enough. Back in the car.
Oh, hold on. Oh.
Do not make me sedate you.
Okay. All right. I'm all right. Sorry. That's a lot.
Yeah, we have plenty to discuss. Can't do it out here, though.
Getting back in the car. He's still holding his chest a little bit, but you can tell that he's starting to feel a little bit better. That's never happened to me before.
Well, we're all living in new situations. Sarah will just put away all the stuff and then get back into the car so they can get back to the hotel, or to a hotel.
Yeah, while this is going on, Adrian, do you get out of the car at all?
Yeah, I think he gets out and he maybe like walks a few paces away from the car just to like get some fresh air.
There is a car parked not far from you. And as you're kind of collecting yourself, catching your breath, processing what just happened, you hear this flapping, like almost like a slapping sound. And you look down and you see a bat crawling out from underneath a nearby car, seizing, frothing at the mouth, eyes rolling back into its skull.
He stops in his tracks. Is there anyone in the car?
There is not.
So he's going to take a note of the make and model of the car as well as the license plate, just in case.
Okay.
But he'll watch the thing, the bat. And I think he just watches it struggle. But if he sees it starting to like get closer to him, he is jumping back in that car.
Yeah, it continues to flap and spasm on the ground, inching towards you in its dying breaths, and eventually you hear that familiar crack, and you're overcome with this feeling of deja vu. As it dies, its own back having been broken by the force of its seizures and its spasms.
I assume this is a sanity roll.
Yeah, go ahead.
51 out of 73.
Yeah, you lose nothing.
He looks at it, sort of like watches it to make sure that it's dead. But I think he learned from the last time, and he will just get back in the car and peel off and and drive back to the hotel.
So with you all, and correct me if I'm wrong, the plan is to head south to Charlotte, North Carolina next?
That's where King Torino is, right?
King Torino, yep. So King Torino is in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was the children's home where the vast majority of, or at least the biggest percentage of Cornucopia House survivors ended up.
Oh, right. And the church was in Miami.
Yeah, we're just kind of like working our way south.
Yeah. Okay.
So where would we want to stop for the night? Like still in Virginia, maybe on the southern border once you guys get across into North Carolina? It's about a 6-hour drive.
What time of day is it when we left?
I would say after all of that, it was probably in the afternoon.
I mean, 6 hours isn't that bad.
Yeah, we just ride until nightfall and then pull over to find a hotel.
Well, we'll say you drive about 4.5 hours to the town of Greensboro, North Carolina, which is only about an hour and a half from Charlotte. So you stop off in Greensboro, you find any number of Holiday Inn Expresses or Comfort Inns, whatever, what have you. You pick one, you make your reservations. What happens next?
I think Sarah is like, team meeting. Everyone in the same room.
Should I take a shower first, or?
Sure, yeah. Take enough time to center everyone, collect your thoughts, and then come to my room, no exception. If you don't come, I'm going to come looking for you, and you don't want that. And she's exhausted at this point. After the call with Pitzerelli, she's just like, oh my God. She's like, just emotionally and mentally just not checked out, but just tired.
She's 10,000 kinds of done.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Adrian, what do you end up doing?
I think he's falling in line with this, but he'll check into his room separate, and he is going to open his laptop, put up the footage, upload the footage that he took from the nursing home, and he will put that on his laptop, which he will bring with him to the room, and he's going to keep Price's folder here by himself, though. He won't look at it just yet, but he is going to keep it on hand to look at for later.
While you're kind of getting the footage queued up, do you do an initial review, or are you going to wait until everybody is together to view it?
Yeah, I'll do like a quick scrub of it.
It's not very long. What you see when you do this scrub, this initial review, is you can easily key in on the timeline when the paramedics first arrived at Charlotte's Rest and rushed through the door with their stretcher and ran down the hall with the nurse whose body you found at the nurse's station when you all arrived. Almost immediately after the paramedics show up and begin running down that hall, before the front door can even close, you watch Elle Gable just walk through with effortless timing. She hides in a broom closet and waits. You watch the paramedics walk back down the hallway with the body of the decedent on the stretcher, covered by a sheet. And as soon as they're past, again, with impeccable timing, goes through the door, closing behind them, walking with this confident flourish of these rags she called clothes into the assisted living hallways. And she's flanked by 3 large dogs that come out of rooms down the hallway in exact unison. Elle walks to the nurse's station where the nurse is waiting, and you can see his mouth just begin to open when that poodle vaults over the desk and clamps down on his throat, thrashing like a shark. Elle doesn't even look at him as she passes. She moves through the nurse's wing, and the camera feed follows her and the 3 bloody hounds as they fall in step behind her. And they enter Franklin Price's room almost to the exact moment you all walk through the main entrance. Go ahead and make a sanity roll for me.
19 out of 73.
You lose nothing. While you're doing this and you're getting the footage queued up and ready to go, Bear, I'm assuming you just jump in the shower and get this gore and viscera cleaned off of you.
I think before he does, remind me, did I call Gerrald on after I found the divorce papers, or have I not?
You attempted to do so.
I think Bear would take out his phone and try to call her again.
The phone rings a few times, almost like, and you could probably sense this having been married to her for so long, almost like she's trying to decide if she should pick up or not. But just when you're sure it's going to go to voicemail, she answers. What is it, Bear?
Got your paperwork.
I figured you did.
Fuck, Gerrald. After all this time, this is what you're gonna do?
I could say the same thing to you, Bear.
What the fuck, Gerrald?
What the fuck, Bear?
What is it? Is it Greg?
No, it's not fucking Greg, Bear.
I see him. I see him sniffing around the office at you.
Oh my
I've had
God.
my eye on him for a long time.
It's this, Bear. It's the immaturity.
It's what?
And then,
What? I'm out here working!
Bear, you can't talk to me like that.
Fuck, Gerrald. You're just gonna throw it all away? Fuck you! I am not prey. And he hangs up the phone.
Damn.
Can I roll alertness to see if I hear him yelling?
Ooh, that's a possibility. There will not lie.
If you're good with it, dog.
Yeah,
sure,
yeah. No, that's definitely a possibility. I was not trying to hide it.
Can everyone roll or just?
Yeah, fuck it. We'll all say you're kind of in the same block of rooms on the same floor. These are not soundproofed walls. So, Adrian, with a 78 out of 44, you're kind of in the zone. But Leah with a 28 out of 60, and Sarah with an 86 out of 87, you hear the at this point familiar baritone, bassy voice of Bear raised in indignant anger. It's hard to make out exactly what it is he's saying, but it's pretty obvious the guy's yelling.
I think probably, especially the people who heard it before, the phrase, I'm not prey, Gerrald, would stand out above the noise. Does that make sense?
It does to me, yeah. Dr. Caron, what are you doing?
She hears that, and then hears it go quiet for a second, groans to herself, gets up, and goes to check on him.
How does Sarah respond?
Yeah, I mean, definitely hears it and clocks it and is concerned. But yeah, I think any conversation she wants to have around it, she wants with Adrian and Leah there as well. She doesn't want to have too many side conversations where we're talking about each other without everyone in the room, kind of thing.
Got it. But yeah, Leah, you walk probably across the hall to Bear's room.
She knocks.
It takes a little while, but eventually you hear the creak of the bed as Bear stands back up again and walks over and opens up the door. Sorry, I needed to get in the shower. He's breathing hard again and sweating a little bit.
Yeah. She kind of looks him up and down. Best make that a quick one. We'll see you in Sarah's room. And she goes back to her room.
You hear the door shut, and behind it you just hear this fuck, and then nothing.
Yeah. Leah is also over it.
So Bear's gonna jump in the shower.
All right. Well, in that case, probably about 30, 45 minutes later, we'll say you all reconvene. And once again, in Sarah's room. You may proceed.
I think Adrian is unusually prompt. Almost as if, like, getting scolded at by Pitzerelli. He sort of found this sort of obedient resolve, but he is probably going to be the first one there, if that's okay with everybody else.
Yeah, especially with Bear taking a shower. Bear would probably show up last.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah will let people in as they come, so.
Adrian's going to sit the furthest away from the door so that when Bear comes in, he sees him, but sort of as a sign to say, hey, don't come over here. If he does, he'll deal with it. But so that he's like sitting as far away from Bear as possible, or trying to anyway.
I think when Bear comes in and sees Adrian sitting in the corner, he's probably just going to come in and sit down on the bed. Not exactly trying to stay away from Adrian, but not trying to sit next to him or anything.
Yeah, Adrian is staring at you. Not necessarily like staring daggers, but just is like very noticeably has his eyes on you the whole time.
All right, and Leah is here as well.
Yeah, I imagine she arrived probably after Adrian, before Bear.
Cool. Okay, yeah. Once everyone's seated, Sarah will stand up. Okay. So, assuming we all had a chat with Pitzerelli, gives Adrian a quick look. Before we go any further, we all need to be on the same page and we all need to be aware of what's going on with each other so that we don't start shooting each other mid-job, mid-encounter, mid-whatever. So first, Bear, what the fuck was that? And don't give me the answer that you gave Pitzerelli. You need to be straight with all three of us because our lives may depend on it.
You can see Bear that his back starts to rise up a little bit. He straightens up. He gets a little bit bigger. His chest puffs out a little bit. He looks like he's going to get agitated, but then he stops and he says, he sort of slumps back down again and deflates. He goes, all I know is I took the knife from her. I didn't have to bite her. But there was this rage. No, it wasn't even just rage. He shoots a look at Adrian and says, don't you fucking tell this to Pitzerelli. There was almost a hunger. It just felt like something I needed to do.
As you're recalling this, Bear, and you're searching your thoughts and you're trying to put words to what it was you were experiencing, you remember the sensation and the memory of that smell.
That's right, yeah.
That nauseating yet enticing odor of flesh, of meat, of prey, all with that disturbing undercurrent of freshly baked cookies. And you remember being reminded in that moment of Babushka, of the cottage, of Cornucopia House.
Yeah. I don't think Bear's going to bring that up yet, but I mean, I think that's the first thing he says.
Do you still feel rage or anything?
I got a lot going on right now. Needless to say, things aren't great at home. But I think I got it under control.
Leah, did you end up with anything in psychotherapy? Just 10%. Go ahead and make a roll anyway.
Oh my god.
Oh, hell yeah.
With a 5 out of 10. As this conversation is going on, as this conversation is happening, you are kind of putting on your clinical hat and you're thinking back over the symptoms that Bear has exhibited, especially in the wake of what happened at Charlotte's Rest. The panic attack-like symptoms, the explosive outbursts, the shouting you heard from his room. And even with your limited knowledge of psychotherapy, granted, like you said, it's not your wheelhouse, you're more of a biologist, it is indicative strongly of intermittent explosive disorder.
Okay.
Which, I mean, intermittent explosive disorder, you would probably know as a doctor that it most often manifests as like explosive violence. Not necessarily, like danger to others sort of thing, but extreme swings into violent or aggressive behavior.
Okay. I'm keeping that in my back pocket.
I don't know. It won't happen again. But we talked about this before, right? That smell?
Did I smell it too? I can't remember.
I think everybody smelled it on the bodies.
You remember smelling it with the stew at the cornucopia house site?
Leah was the only one, I think, who didn't smell it then, but she did smell it in the room.
Yeah, so those of you who actually went into the room, especially those of you who survived the raid at Cornucopia House that night back in 2001, you remember that smell. And you smelled it emanating not only from Elle, but from Franklin Price.
I think Bear's just gonna say we all smelt that smell back in the apartment a few times now. And I smelled it again. And I don't know, it just for a second just red thoughts like rose up in me. I don't know. Smelling that. It was like I was back at Cornucopia House all over again.
Was it you, Bear? Was it you who actually chose to tear her throat out?
I don't want to tear anybody else's throat out, if that's what you mean.
No, I'm asking, like, in that moment, did you actively choose it?
I was pretty pissed off and scared and hungry.
What did it taste like?
What the fuck, man?
Leah gives a what the fuck look to Adrian.
Wasn't as bad as I thought it would.
Did you like it?
No. Fuck. No.
We're all being truthful here, right?
What do you want me to say, Adrian?
I want you to tell me the truth. Did you like it or no?
Look, my adrenaline was pumping. I thought I was gonna die. I thought she was gonna stab me. And I've seen it before. Even a guy like me, a knife is very dangerous.
Bear, it's a yes or no question.
I was afraid.
It was a yes or no question.
I wouldn't say I liked it, but somewhere deep in the back of my brain, maybe I felt I needed it.
Thank you, Bear.
This idea of predator and prey and hunt and teeth has been recurring. I think we saw today that whatever this force is can affect us directly. Whether it was that smell that triggered it, the adrenaline of the situation, something with Elle specifically, I don't know, but we're getting further into this. We're going deeper into the pit of whatever this fucking thing is. So we need to be extremely upfront that if any of us feels anything like that again, we tell someone, or we're going to have another fucking shootout between ourselves on our hands. And that's not the way we want this job to end.
Well, yeah, that reminds me, kid. Is that a warning shot?
It was a shot.
You need to learn to shoot better, kid.
Don't worry, next time I won't miss.
Okay.
I'm not saying that as a threat. I'm just saying that as a promise.
Okay. I mean, that's a threat, Adrian. Come on.
Yeah, I think Bear's staring at Adrian and he's not lowering his eyes. But he doesn't say anything.
Okay. Great.
Can we talk about the other things that happened?
Yes, actually. After you two were dealing with the mess that Bear made, I managed to swipe the footage from the security cameras at the nursing home. This is of some relevance to all of us. And he'll turn the monitor, or turn the laptop, and he'll press play and show him everything he saw.
So for those watching, you see the same thing as described to Adrian, the eerie, almost preternatural timing of Elle Gable following the paramedics, hiding, slipping past them when they move past, walking past the nurse's station, the poodle attacking, killing the nurse, and then slipping into Franklin Price's room almost the exact moment you all show up. Everyone go ahead and make a sanity roll.
Damn.
Ooh. No.
All right, so Sarah, with a 12 out of 46, you lose nothing. Leah, with an 85 out of 65, you lose 1. And Bear, with a 64 out of 43, you lose 1.
I think you guys just see Bear stiffen up as he's watching this, and eventually he turns away. And his fists are just kind of like clenching and unclenching by his sides. He doesn't even seem to be aware of it. He's breathing hard again.
And Adrian will stop the footage, close the laptop.
We knew something else was going on. We knew there's another power. We talked about this already. But when I was in the room, it wasn't just Elle who was triggering that scent. It was Price as well.
What is this scent?
You weren't there, Adrian. I don't know if you would.
You'll know it when you smell it.
Like dead meat.
Yeah, that sweet, kind of sick scent.
What did Price say?
Smells like sugar cookies.
Yeah.
Well, sugar cookies and meat are very different from each other.
They had both of those were coming through. Both scents were present. Which makes me think, I don't know how to say this, but these are all still connected back to that case. Price was affected by the same thing that Carrie Houghton had. The same recurrent neurological damage. That's the whole reason he's still in that nursing home.
Right. The assumption, I think, being that whatever this thing is was affecting the people who worked in the social services so that they could get access to kids. It was deceiving them into thinking everything's fine, everything's normal, no need to follow up, when obviously things were not the case.
But if he was smelling it too, do you think that's related to what was done to him?
I do think so, because it was also done to the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be that coming into contact with it that frequently enough to give him the level of neurological damage that he had. It just left that kind of effect on him.
Adrian, go ahead and make a human roll for me.
Will do.
All right, 67 out of 11. It's hard to make heads or tails of them talking about this scent and what it means, especially since you yourself have yet to experience it as strongly as they have, especially with their history with it. It's hard to tell if they believe it.
Take a mental note of that.
All right, so what do we do now?
I mean, that children's home is our next step.
Where is this church exactly? The church from the flyer?
Miami.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going there too.
One thing I did forget to mention, on top of all of this, there was also investigating the death of Crystal Killian, whose death kind of set all this off because it was in her home that your names were found. And she resides in Hendry County, Florida.
Okay.
So we gotta go to Florida anyways. We knew this.
Is there anything else that we need to talk about?
No, not tonight.
We probably shouldn't do anything about it, talk about it at dinner or anything, but I'm hungry. I mean, we gotta eat, right?
I'll see you all in the morning, if that's all.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Adrian will promptly get up, and he definitely sort of does his best to avoid getting close to Bear as he's walking past him on the bed.
I think as Adrian is just about the door, Bear will say, "Hey, kid, if you want me to show you how to handle that thing," and he like points his finger like a cocked gun at Adrian. It's what I do.
Yes, it is. And he'll take his leave.
All right, let's try not to kill each other before breakfast tomorrow, please. Thank you.
Look, I'm sorry about earlier. This is fucked up, man.
Yeah. All this is.
Probably gonna get worse, so buckle up.
Anybody else want to go to dinner? Or?
Oh, what the fuck? I could eat. I need a drink too, honestly.
Could definitely use a drink. There's a Texas Roadhouse down right around the block. You want to just go there?
Yeah, sure. She'll grab her coat.
So Bear is going to order a very rare steak.
Sarah just like raises an eyebrow at you, but won't say anything.
Uh-huh.
Does Leah go with him?
Yeah, yeah. I think at the end, though, if she can catch a minute alone with Sarah, she would like to.
Well, we'll get to that. I do want to check in with Adrian. What's Adrian doing while the team is enjoying their bloody steaks at Texas Roadhouse?
He is on his bed. He's dressed down for the evening, t-shirt and shorts. He has his gaming laptop open, but he hasn't started gaming. I think right now he's actually going through Price's file.
So Price's file documents this long and heart-wrenching decline into early senility. There are approximately 6-month updates every 6 months depicting the story of a nice, dedicated man slipping into confused rage, then defeated silence, then childlike wisps of thought as his brain hollowed itself out with scar tissue. For the last 3 years, Price has not been able to speak. One of the last bright spots in his medical history was a brief resurgence of lucidity in response to a new drug treatment in 2011. The therapist notes indicate he was expressing a desire to see his adopted daughter, Nika Chilikov, whom he heard had been sent to King Torino Children's Refuge in North Carolina. He claims to have taken custody of her after encountering her in his social work at Cornucopia House and developing a relationship. "We were each other's favorites," is what he's reported as saying in doctor's notes in this rare direct quote. Later notes in the file indicate that his attempt to renew contact with Nika Chilikov did not go well. Caretakers at King Torino eventually admitted to having custody of Nika Chilikov, but they insisted that Franklin Price was of no relation to her, adopted or otherwise. As a result, Price's pleading to see her was dismissed as just so much sundowning. And of course, you do recognize that name, Nika Chilikov, as being one of the children who survived in 2001 from the adoption record files you all pulled.
Got it.
So in the adoption records, it didn't say that Price was the one who adopted her, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm going to keep this feather in my cap for now. But I do want to see if I can Google any more information or any maybe possible updates on her, just see if anything pings.
Nika Chilikov is listed as a employee at King Torino Children's Refuge in Charlotte.
Got it.
But apart from that, no criminal record, nothing suspicious in her background, nothing indicative of the same spiral into violence that some of these other Cornucopia House survivors have displayed.
All right, cool, yeah.
It looks like she is pretty much on staff as like a caretaker, helping take care of the children at King Torino, and is also a student pursuing a master's degree in child psychology.
Interesting.
With that, Leah, Sarah, Bear, you all finish your dinner, and I'm assuming go your separate ways, at which point Leah can get a moment alone with Sarah.
Yeah, Bear will go off to bed.
Sarah, you got a minute?
Yeah, sure. Come on in. I'll take her into my room. What's up?
You know, a lot, but I just have concerns about both Adrian and Bear, but I think those aren't new or aren't unapparent to everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Concern about Bear specifically is that he may have formed a disorder that could be detrimental, honestly. At least when it comes to his, workspace. And whenever he gets more stressed, he may explode more often. It's called intermittent explosive disorder. He shows some hallmark signs of it, as I've been observing. Psychiatry is not my wheelhouse, but everyone has some training, you know.
You think it could have been triggered by whatever the hell we experienced back there?
Yeah, I also know he wasn't I think you and I both know he wasn't telling the full truth, both to Pitzerelli and to us. It's hard to admit anything involving what happened there.
Yeah.
And especially for a man like that who seems like they always pride themselves on their control, especially in law enforcement, but I'm worried that he might snap at the wrong time, and I think he's internalizing some of the things we are being exposed to.
Yeah, you said that potentially could be triggered in the future by stress. I mean, that's constant for us right now.
Exactly. I just rather two eyes on it, and you also be aware, because with how Adrian is also rolling up to be, and with everything that had gone out with all three of us at Cornucopia House, things are a little unsteady or unstable. At least in the team, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's impossible for this kind of shit to not affect you at some level, but I don't know, the fact that it happened so long ago and it's recurring now, sometimes it feels like some of those things we experienced never left, like those feelings never left my body at all. And they're just like, I'm just becoming conscious of them again.
Something's bringing them back to life.
Yeah, I'm worried that that's how his is manifesting. And if that's how his is manifesting, what's it going to look like when it manifests for us?
Yeah. Because I think, and I can't be sure, I'm just talking this through.
Sure.
But whatever is, we're hunting the kids who are hunting what's left of whatever babushka and whatever she and her cult was trying to do. But the kids are also part of the problem. So are the kids the tools, or are we the tools to get rid of whatever babushka did?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if we had been a second late, Price would have been dead. One down. We would have gotten to Gable. Gable wouldn't have survived it. Because she was trying to get at Price, but she would have also challenged. She also was the one who challenged Jess with the human teeth.
15 years ago when all this happened, I was instructed to kill the kids.
What?
Yeah, long story. Someone who set me on the job in the first place. I don't think it was legit. Long story, but when I told them that the job was done, they came back and said I had to kill the kids to finish it, and I refused. Obviously, they were the victims, and I think I still stand by that today, but it feels fucked that now we're hunting them down like this. Part of me wants to think that they could still be saved, but after seeing Elle and...
I think, unfortunately, the time to have saved them was 10 years ago.
But how?
Not necessarily by killing them, but they were underserved by the systems in place. They were failed, horrifically so. Because our foster system is not well equipped to serve children who are traumatized that much that they couldn't even speak.
Who in Delta Green knew enough about this that they knew they had to be killed? It's fucking bugged me since day one.
Are we sure it was Delta Green?
Out of character. I had talked to Clove before, right?
No, that was the first time you had ever met her.
Okay. So I don't know 100% that she was from the program.
She knew all the ways to initiate contact, so you could safely assume that she was Delta Green.
Okay.
Like, you walked away with the suspicion, especially after that last phone call where she told you to kill the kids, that this was not an officially sanctioned operation.
Right. Okay. I mean, she followed all the protocols. She said all the right things. I have to think if she wasn't officially a part of Delta Green, there was someone who was that told her. But I mean, everything that we did that day was not sanctioned. It was not official. It was someone sent us there, and I still don't know who.
But then why? We won't get the answer to the question. She's gone. She's long gone. It's 10 years past. We won't get the answers to these questions.
I mean, I'm hoping we find something in Florida where our names showed up, but yeah, it's been bugging me for 15 years.
We were never supposed to be there.
Or maybe we always were supposed to, depending on how you look at it. Whole question of fate.
Yeah. But like, whatever this force is, if it was the one manipulating everything, it said always when it answered our questions.
Yeah.
So then that raises the question of how much of what we're doing is because we need to, or we feel we have to. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
You can see Leah is kind of like the shade tremors in her hands are getting a little worse before she kind of clenches them. Anyways, Price I don't think is a harm to anyone else because he cannot communicate to anyone else anymore. He's going to die a vegetable basically in that nursing home. But we still have to hunt down Samuel and the other one and then the rest of the children.
Sounds so fucked up, doesn't it?
I think if we don't hunt them, they're going to hunt us.
I know.
If you're not predator, you're prey, and that's exactly, I think, what they were trying to get at.
I feel like that kind of ignores the larger ecosystem as a whole, but yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, 100,000%.
They never, these kind of like predator gods or whatever the fuck this is, never really take that into account, do they? It's like, well, I mean, no, a little bit more nuanced.
Yeah.
And you can tell she's like trying to make light of certain things because thinking about it too much is uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, Leah's definitely like, she kind of gives like a hysterical like giggle before she like shuts herself up. Okay, enough of that. I'm gonna like crack open like a bad egg. All right, I'll see you in the morning then.
Yeah. Hey, let me know if you see anything else or if you start to feel anything, and then I'll let you know the same.
I didn't want to bring this up in front of Adrian. Just in general, all of the cornucopia house stuff, I didn't want to bring it up in front of him. But how much do we tell him?
At this point, I think it's probably fair that when he asks, we tell him the truth. And if we think it's pertinent, we tell him, even with him not asking. I feel like if we try to hide too much, it's only going to lead to, I don't know. I think he can tell that when things affect us. Maybe with Bear, it's a little bit more obvious, but there are things that we feel and he doesn't, and I feel like he can tell that. And I think the more honest we are, the more communication we have, hopefully we can forgo any more fucking shooting incidents.
Okay. Yeah. I'll keep you posted. And are you gonna contact Pitzerelli? Because he really wanted updates.
Yeah, let him know we had a nice steak dinner.
All right. Good night.
Good night. And I do like just super quick update since he wanted to. Just that we're headed down to North Carolina where we're at. Bear ordered a super rare steak. Otherwise, nothing super noteworthy.
I don't think he finds the same humor in that you do, but he's very taciturn in his response and pretty much closes with a noted, thanks you for the update, and promptly hangs up.
Yep. And Sarah's gonna go to bed.
All right. So Sarah retires for the evening. Bear, do you do anything with the rest of your evening?
No, I think at this point Bear is kind of shot. He probably had one drink too many at dinner, but he resists the urge to take a nightcap to his room, and he just collapses in his bed and goes to sleep.
How about you, Adrian?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just sort of leave him on continuing to sort of Google up, to look up through that database stuff. I think he started with Nika, and in the sort of glow of his gaming laptop, we see him unmoved, just a few cans of energy drink on the nightstand. But he progressively goes from Googling about Nika and starts to Google about, not just Google, but looks up in the database, information about the other three, with a specific interest in Bear.
Yeah, it's easy enough to find. And even if you can't necessarily find it, it's kind of a cakewalk to get access to employment records. You find that Bear, in his very, very early life, was a security guard in Washington, D.C. before he eventually joined the Virginia State Police. And after 2001, was brought on board to Homeland Security investigations, primarily as a firearms instructor at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia. For Dr. Caron, you find that she started as an officer in the U.S. Army in the Medical Corps and spent a great deal of her time at the Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington, D.C. prior to it being renamed, and eventually joined the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention as a biologist. And for Sarah, what is out there about Sarah?
Yeah, so how are you, a cursory search will probably have like kind of her basic resume where she's been with the FBI for like a super long time. She was based out of Maryland for a while. She is currently, maybe not stationed, but she works in Alaska, and her name probably pops up with a few like nonprofit, like missing persons things where like, you know, just a quick like thank you to because she like consults on those. If you do more digging and you're like a computer expert, so you could probably find it. You might find like some super, like back when she was in college, like super early internet days of her doing the very early version of like web sleuthing. I imagine some of that's still like public and up around a missing persons case in Anchorage.
And one final question. Do I notice any sort of like similarities or discrepancies in their employment that would suggest that they all sort of moved on to their next stage of life around the same time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it.
You find that within the same 3-month window around 2002, 2003 timeline, everyone went federal. Bear ended up with Homeland Security investigations. Dr. Caron was brought into the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And Sarah was brought back into the fold with the Bureau after having left it for a little bit, primarily being employed at the Anchorage field office in Alaska.
Got it. And I assume all of that lines up with the timelines that we have for the Cornucopia House incident.
There's really no record of that.
Okay.
Because the Cornucopia House incident would have happened in 2001. But based on what you know from Pitzerelli and the information he provided you when he first brought you on board to monitor these three, it lines up.
Got it.
Whatever they did in 2001, whatever they did that led to this whole Cornucopia House snafu, afterwards, again in that 2002-2003 timeframe, they were brought on board. And you can read between the lines and assume that that's when they may have been recruited into this classified group that you now support.
Got it. Thank you.
So we leave Adrian there. Dr. Caron, do you just you crash for the night?
Yeah, she crashes.
And with that, with you three sleeping off the absolute bloody chaos of the preceding day, with King Torino, your next destination, and the hunt continuing, we will bring this session to a close. Thank you for listening to Delta Green, God's Teeth, part of the Black Project Gaming podcast. If you like what you heard, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or a comment on YouTube. Be sure to visit blackprojectgaming.com for previous and future Delta Green episodes. If you'd like updates on all future releases, please follow us on Blue Sky or Facebook. Until next time, I'm Vince, your host and handler, with Cami as FBI Special Agent Sarah Hart, Doug as Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent Gerrald Swenson, Jack as Special Agent Adrian Selivanov with the FBI's Computer Analysis Response Team, and Sonia as Dr. Leah Caron with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Thank you again, and remember, we'll be seeing you.